Employees of McDonald's, what secrets did you discover while working there? Okay, point 1. Never get the breakfast menu after 10:30 or 11 o'clock. We start the lunch menu then, so if you, for example, got a sausage egg muffin at noon, the muffin, sausage, and egg will have been sitting in the reheating cabinet for an hour and a half. We only toss the last breakfast items at 2 o'clock, when we fully stop serving breakfast items. Point 2. If you are even slightly unhappy with the way we made your food, come back in, please. Tell us about it. We make bonuses based off of how happy we make customers. If we meet those, even the grill crew makes a gift card or two. If you leave unhappy and don't let us try to fix it, we as a store will never grow. Point 3. We aren't supposed to serve pies or cookies after a certain point after they are cooked. But we do, no doubt about it. If your pie is slightly room temperature and so is your cookie, you can always ask for freshly cooked on your bakery and dessert items. It might make us park your car for a few minutes, but they will come out fresh and hot and better tasting. Point 4. If you ever pull up to a speaker and immediately demand to be talked to by shouting, "Hello!" we almost instantly frown and lose our smiles. This is not because we aren't happy to serve you, but it's because sometimes when the service crew who is taking your order is listening to the speaker, they are multitasking. They are refilling cups, lids, products. They are following other orders, getting food out, getting rest for the next order. It's true that rarely we aren't listening, but we often are. It's just that service bodies often have to enter orders, talk to the car at the window, and talk to the car at the speaker while cashing out the car at the window, if not more. It's a multitasking job. We aren't ignoring you. We are trying not to overload ourselves. Please be patient. Point 5. Ever notice something wrong? Something bad? Something we can improve upon? There's a link to a survey site on the receipts you get. Please use them. And if you received great service, name a crew member or anybody who you remember. If they get 5 or more shoutouts for good service, they get a bonus. If they get a bad review, they get pulled aside and talked to. Sometimes the talking to helps. I got a bad review because a customer noticed I was depressed. My GM pulled me aside, talked to me, helped me use my benefits for therapy, and I came into work happier than I had ever been. Let us know. It can change our lives. Point 6. At least at my location, the maintenance crew rocked. We had our ice cream machine, mocha, and smoothie machines cleaned nearly 3 times in one day because our GM was slightly unhappy. Please ask. Our ice cream machine may just be fine for all you know. Point 7. We listen to almost any request. Want extra pickles? Done. Easy. Want pickles in a little container and with your order? Okay, sure. Want just the quarter pounder meat with lettuce and crispy pickles in a platter? Got it. Done and done. Do you want your deluxe bacon double quarter pounder cut in half? I mean, by God, it'll be a messy salad-like mound after, but sure, we will try our best. If we can't accommodate you reasonably, we will let you know and apologize for the inconvenience. This includes allergies, exclusions, extra items, special requests like cooked hot, no bun, or pickles and pickle juice in a plastic cup for me to eat. The last one, never heard. We would probably cringe and tell you no. Sorry, but that's gross. Point 8. On the topic of pickles, sometimes our prep crew doesn't drain the pickles too well, and we table tots are soaking our gloves in pickle juice just to grab a pickle or two. We are supposed to fix this, but when slammed with orders, kinda hard. This isn't really something to watch out for, but to know what happened if you taste a little too much pickle with your pickles. That's all I can think of for now. I've only worked here for 4 months, but I'm already area manager. Guess I made my GM happy? Nothing much, honestly. I worked there for over a year. Everything is cleaned properly, no one messes with food because there's always a manager nearby. The food is rather fresh, etc. While a lot of the stuff is frozen, that doesn't make it bad. Only thing is, the tea is very easy to screw up. It's easy to accidentally leave the spout open and have tea covering the floor. Once, we had a bag of coffee break and it got into the ice and into the tea, and we didn't realize right away, so some people got some coffee in their tea. When it comes to allergies though, everyone I worked with was very diligent. If someone had a bad allergy to bread, we would remove our gloves, wash our hands and arms, put on new gloves, and make sure the item was okay. Given that was probably the case because we didn't want a lawsuit. Another secret is how much food McDonald's wastes. We had a bucket to toss the food in, and the managers had to count it at the end of the day. It was disgusting to see how much perfectly edible food was being thrown out. Luckily, if your manager is cool, you could ask to eat it in the back quickly. This was especially the case with pies. Frankly, the company was fine. They offered to give you scholarships, pay for you to get your diploma if you didn't have one, always paid above minimum wage, though sometimes barely. And it was easy to get a promotion if you asked and put in the work. That being said, I still hate corporations and the franchise owners who were assholes who ignored a bunch of stuff. Customers threw their food at me if something was wrong, i.e. not enough salt, and I had minor burns from it. I was told I was a massive cunt and should kill myself. List goes on. Oh, also, you're not allowed to take tips. Every 10 to 1 is a tenth of a pound of beef. These go in most of the smaller burgers. A McDouble and a Big Mac have the same amount of beef to them. The difference between them is the Mac sauce instead of ketchup and mustard, the middle bun, sesame seeds, and lettuce. The difference between a double cheeseburger and a McDouble is 1 slice of cheese. McRibs are the messiest sandwich we had to make. In addition to cooking it, the McRibs stewed in their sauce in the Universal Heating Cabinet, UHC, until used. That required a special pair of tongs because it was pork, and cross-contamination applies to religious stuff as well. No matter how careful you were, you always made a mess. Burrito mix came pre-cooked and frozen. You wrapped a slice of cheese with the stuff and it was put in a queuing oven, which was a glorified microwave until hot. That's it, no real cooking done. Breakfast breads was the easiest back-end position during breakfast. Things just took time. McGriddle buns were baked frozen, then thrown into the queuing oven to make them soft. Biscuits were queued, then baked. Bagels and muffins were toasted. McDonald's uses beef fat, if I remember correctly, for their fryers. When the oil was new, it was literally white until it got hot. A patch of sweet tea took 5 pounds of sugar for 5 gallons of tea. You could feel the cavities as you made it. Grilled chicken took the longest to cook and was kind of a pain. Some breasts could be in the UHC for hours before finally tossed. And that's all I got for now. I worked at a McDonald's in high school. This was the 90s. The store I worked at had incredibly high standards. I was taught proper customer service skills, how to de-escalate a situation, time management, cleaning skills, people skills, and so much more. I thrived there because I was lacking adult role models anywhere else in my life. My managers made sure I was caught up on my homework, helped me study, made sure I was eating, even though it was fast food, it was better than no food. I made some of the best friends I've ever had and am still friends to this day. I can truthfully say working there saved my life in high school. McDonald's has a very thorough training program for managers. I was fast-tracked to management at 18. They put me through Hamburger University, the McDonald's training site in Illinois. That was quite an experience. I ended up leaving McDonald's at 19 to go be a young adult and try new jobs. I don't have any trade secrets to share, really. I'll just say this. Don't knock the kids or people working fast food. Don't make fun of them, laugh at them, or make them feel bad. They are learning valuable skills that will serve them well later in life. They are doing what they can to earn money. They're serving you the junk food you want while learning how to grow up and be a successful adult. Sure, not everyone fits this description, but more people do than you think. The cups of ranch, like for nuggets, is different than the ranch that goes on wraps and sandwiches. I believe that kind is buttermilk. I think most McDonald's have discontinued the wraps though, sadly. Fun fact, I met the love of my life at McDonald's. We were both teenagers and closed together 5 nights a week. Him and I had the best work ethic because we both had worked at a McDonald's for a few years, so we knew the closing procedures like the back of our hands. Every time I ordered a wrap, he'd make sure to grab a ranch cup and use that instead. Always told me it was made with extra love. Cute teenage shit. Before we knew it, we got an apartment together. Months turned into years, we planned our lives together. Almost eloped. I couldn't picture myself with any other person, and neither could he. Sadly, he passed away unexpectedly last year. I was heartbroken, obviously. But it forced me to take a good look at my life and change what I didn't like. Now, every time I think of McDonald's, I get flashbacks that take me back to such a blissful time. Such good memories. Definitely wasn't the greatest job, but knowing how to do the procedures in a smart way and working with fun people who also work smarter, not harder, really made it one of my favorite jobs. I'm so glad I'm able to tell our sweet little story. Feels like a true life fairy tale to me. The whole ice cream machine is always broken thing is total nonsense. I think in the 8 months I worked there, it was down like twice. It does, however, lock itself into a clean cycle, and so if you want an ice cream right at 11 a.m., there's a good chance it won't be ready and the ice cream is on a heating cycle. What I learned most was that everything is timed. Like every single step you take from the moment you order until you drive out with your food is timed. And if we're not hitting the targets, management gets grumpy. And I'm talking like 30 seconds to take an order, 10 seconds for you to pull up, pay, and drive to the next window, 10 seconds to get all your food and leave. From the point they pulled up to order until they leave with their food was 120 seconds. So please know what you're going to order and don't take all your cups out the cup holder and start dishing out everyone's dinner in the car before you head off, because whoever's at the window has a manager breathing down their neck in a temper that's about to explode. All in all, wasn't the worst job and worked with decent people, but it's so high pressure and stressful and probably the hardest and most physically exhausting job I've had in my 10 plus years of working life. Cool story. I worked there in my teens for a couple of years. Actually worked at 2 different locations, so I saw the difference in standards. At one store, there was a guy who always rode his bike to the store every single day to hang out. He was on the spectrum, slow, and McDonald's was kind of his castle. Everyone knew him, and he got a lot of free food from the employees. He was a daily part of the shift for us. Anyway, one day he had one too many root beers. This was a thing he normally did, because he pretended the root beers were like real beers and he would get drunk. Everyone would kind of go along with it because he was funny and never did anything too wild. Unfortunately, this day he took it a little too far and ended up in the parking lot throwing bottles at cars driving by. Long story short, guy was arrested and he was banned from that McDonald's for life. Kinda felt bad about it because that McDonald's was his favorite place to be. He would pull through at 3 or 4 on his bike and stay and hang out with employees until like 8, every single day. Before that incident, one of the managers even made him his own little parking spot for his bicycle. He was happy as hell. I think about the guy sometimes. Hope he's found himself a new McDonald's. Former employee here. I found out that when making 5 gallons of sweet tea, an entire 4-pound bag of sugar goes in. Sandwiches with round egg use real cracked eggs. Folded and scrambled come from packaged goods in the freezer or fridge. I also had a manager that insisted more people purchase filet of fish when it's raining out because they subconsciously associate watery weather with fish. Anyway, he did some research by pouring through sales of filet of fish for months and months and comparing it to weather data for each day. Turns out, he found something like a 3% increase on rainy days and was very pleased with himself. Wow. I will answer some of your questions up here so people can see. The manager voiced his theory one day, and the crews all argued with him about it. This went on for a while. He was committed to proving us wrong, so he secretly pulled the sales numbers at work and did the rest on his own time, never breathing a word until he brought his printed report in to shut us all up. He did separate Fridays during Lent and compared those days to each other in anticipation of having holes poked in his research. We still did that anyway, of course. As pointless and imperfect as the research was, it was impressive to see his commitment to giving us the middle finger. Worked in one from 2000 to 2005. During this time, they changed the bacon. The new bacon isn't as good. During this time, they changed the shake mix. The new shake mix isn't as good. The shake machine works just fine, so as long as someone remembers to fill it before it gets too empty and goes into automatic 90-minute self-clean mode. It also takes a very long time to start up, so if someone forgets, there's no shakes for 30 minutes. This was never a problem for me. Whenever I did opening shift, I'd kick off the coffee brewing for my team, then start up the shake machine for myself. The chocolate chip cookies and McGriddles taste amazing if you eat them fresh out of the oven. Always made an extra half tray for myself. If you're ordering a meal, say the size first, large number 1 with a Coke. Everyone knows that ordering the meal is cheaper than getting that same sandwich, fries, and drink individually, but here's the secret. The piece of shit has a button for the large number 1 and a different button for the medium number 1, then another menu for the drinks. So if you say, I want a number 1 with a Coke, I can't hit any buttons until I know the sizes of the meal, the size of the fries, and the size of the drink. Sauces for sandwiches have the craziest dispensers. Ketchup and mustard are in these really rudimentary plastic funnel things that have a paddle in the handle. When you squeeze it, gravity pushes just the right amount of sauce through holes. Doesn't seem like it'd work well, but it does if you apply the proper amount of jiggling. The mac sauce, mayo, and tartar, though, they're basically in caulk tubes that get loaded into basically caulk guns. You pull the trigger on the handle, and a really satisfying ratchety clanking delivers a powerfully saucy surprise for the awaiting buns. Problem is, it takes a bit of finesse because if you hit that trigger too hard, you'll blow the bun and the wad of cream right through the condiment station and onto the wall 8 feet away. No joke. The first couple tartar splurts of a fresh tube come out so hot, I'd fire a shot or two in the trash to avoid premature splatulation during the lunch rush. The first salvo, properly elevated and adjusted for wind, could clear the whole kitchen and take out the McInfantry on the cash register. Depending on which one you work at, the parking lot is basically a meetup for druggies, drug dealers, and, at least where I was in New Mexico, people to meet up and have sex in their cars. As long as they kept their business to the middle of the night and didn't cause any serious problems, we were told not to call the cops or make a fuss, mostly because they'd come in and buy food after their shenanigans. Soda and mini pies were really popular with the heroin addicts. What I later found out is that management was actually told to let it slide by corporate, since everyone higher up was aware of how much money the night crowd brought in. I got to see many drug deals. I'm convinced I saw at least one arms deal, but of course, have no way of verifying that. All drinks come in as a syrup and are carbonated on the spot, hence why it can taste flat sometimes. There used to be a way to get a discount code for every second that the timer was running on a coupon, but they patched that in 2017. The ice cream machine at my place usually broke down because people mixed up the milkshake bags with blue caps and the ice cream bags with red caps while filling the machine. Mismanagement is surprisingly common, and corporate doesn't give a single shit as long as there is sufficient profit coming in. For everyone saying, that's how all soda machines work, a lot of people do not know how they work, including me before I started working there. Great if you know how it works, but no need to flex your wisdom below. Anyone claiming the employees do disgusting stuff with food is lying. The kitchens are not only open and completely visible to customers, but also heavily monitored by camera. If someone was messing with the food, you can bet they would be fired and escorted out before they even finished whatever deed they were committing. Look, it's fine not to like McDonald's. It's fine to think it's gross. It's fine if you just hate fast food, logical even. But making things up to disgust people is not okay. Source: former McDonald's corporate employee, worked in both corporate and franchise locations. Standards and practices are normalized and enforced in both. If you do notice things like the people in this topic are claiming, report it to management or report the location to McDonald's customer service. Get a cheaper burger dressed as a Mac to save money on buying a Big Mac. You can ask them to throw an apple pie into the McFlurry, so now you have a pie McFlurry. The big breakfast usually is made with scrambled eggs. You can ask them to be sunny side up as well. If the fries are yellow or brown, the oil hasn't been changed in a long time. If they come out white or very pale yellow, they're made in fresh oil. One pie is the same cost as 2 pies. Always buy 2, cause why the fuck not? You can ask for leaf lettuce instead of the shredded stuff. Sometimes it tastes better on certain sandwiches. The eggs are real. McDonald's is the biggest buyer of chicken and eggs in the world. Tim Hortons eggs are made of powder. There is a glitch with the McDonald's app. There is a deals section, and it usually has a coupon for a free cookie or free apple pie with any order. Add it to your order and you get the free cookie. Then, the next time you order from the app, just reorder your last meal. You can add or subtract whatever you want, but the free cookie will still be there. The glitch is you can add another free cookie from the deals section, and now you have 2 free cookies. Evidently, there is no cap to this. I now get 5 free cookies with each order. I stopped at 5 because I felt that any more than that would be overkill. For the one I worked at in high school, burgers are kept in a warming area for no more than 15 minutes, then thrown out, and new ones are made. You get a free meal from anything except the salads. Meal is a sandwich, medium fries, and a medium drink. At the end of the night, all the cooked meat is thrown out. If you want, you can use it to make burgers and take them home with you. Specific tools and grill section for cooking chicken versus beef to make sure they don't cross for those customers who don't eat beef. The Hindu co-workers were very vocal about this rule if you work the grill. My friend works there. She says, "We can't keep anyone and management won't hire anyone." Plot twist. It's done on purpose to make them work twice as hard for half the pay, so the owner can be ahead on labor and make more in profits. It's a rigged game designed to get you to hustle and be stressed out till you quit. And then they will bring another person on board for the same thing. It's like at Pizza Hut when they give you a raise after 1 year, but they intentionally fire you right at the end of the year to not pay the extra 5 cents extra per hour. Not really a secret, more of a story. One time, someone replaced the chocolate syrup in the shake machine with barbecue sauce on accident because the bottles are similar. They're labeled differently, but it still happened. We found out because a few people complained that the chocolate shakes were sour. We remade them for a couple people and they moved on, but one lady just wouldn't let it go. My manager tasted the shake and was like, "What the fuck?" Then looked and we saw the culprit. Had to clean the line after that so we didn't have chocolate shakes for a minute. If you want a good replacement for Big Mac sauce, 3 big tablespoons of good quality mayo, about a single good tablespoon of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of gherkin relish, 1 tablespoon or so of pickle juice, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half to 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Mix till thoroughly combined, leave in the fridge to let the ingredients make friends with one another overnight. Edit. I looked it up, and apparently this is just my version of fucking Thousand Island dressing. It's not a secret, but when I was a sophomore in high school dating a senior, I was desperate to find my first job to take my girlfriend to prom in a limo, which she really, really wanted, and I wanted to give her, even though she was cool enough to realize that probably wouldn't happen. McDonald's gave me a job, and because they gave me a chance, I fulfilled that goal. Thank you, McDonald's. You made me a hero.